I studied economics, but then I went into big data because everything was about data before. And after that, I studied how to implement analytics or what used to be AI before into corporate in a master's in management that had also a data science degree embedded into it. So I worked doing a lot of technical work in these big corporations to leverage on the use of their data so that marketing strategies would not be expensive. And that's how I came to live in Silicon Valley, funding the first startup that I did that was an AI marketing analyst that was funded by Techstars, top tier accelerators, got me into Stanford to study an executive program that's Elban. And finally, I decided to launch also my own social media with 30K following. And the funny thing is that I only invest 10 to 15 minutes a day with zero budget to grow it, which seems, with the kind of competition that we're seeing today, almost impossible. So the idea is to show you how it's possible, how marketing, when you are very creative, is inexpensive, especially with the tools that you have today, and also how marketing is changing because of course there's more competition and there is a big shift that is happening today. When I used to work in Coca-Cola, the core message of our campaign when we launched no sugar Coke for all South Cone was a fun fact that almost 70% of people that try to guess if we were giving regular Coke or no sugar Coke got it wrong. So the main message that we put in all of our wallpapers and billboards and everything was that 70% of people getting wrong, why won't you take care of your health and have less sugar? So that's how initially No Sugar Coke launched for all South Cone. And that was not really very expensive. It was like during summer, they took these little robots to the beach, and that's how they collected all the information. So sometimes getting data that is going to be great marketing is actually your competitive advantage. And a lot of the people that come today to see me don't get this wow effect that you can generate in people. So AI kind of broke this concept of marketing a little bit, and we're going to see how you can reconstruct it by bringing the immersive experience of marketing to people. So, the first shift that we see is saturation. Getting people's attention is every day and every time harder because this number that is a person has to see your brand 8 times before they even consider you, as they know what you do or in what area you are, is very expensive because it has gone up during the years. When I started in marketing 10 years ago, this number was 5, so that you have a measure of comparison. So this makes attention be the core of your marketing strategy. You always have to be thinking about a funnel where you're going to be competing in a total saturated market. Where also, if you're not there, it's as if you don't have a basic CV. Like, it's as if you don't have a website. Where can I see that this person is actually a true person? Social media works like that for a lot of audiences that are younger generations, for a lot of people that are trying to validate how great this product or service is with all the good and the bad things. So with AI, it's easy to create, but it's hard to create correctly. When you are doing great content, there is a difference between doing basic content. So, what I always say is in this saturated market, we're going to want more human content. Having AI available doesn't mean that you're going to replace all your content with AI. That is a lie, because you're going to have to post a lot of times to differentiate yourself from other people. And you're going to have to be very, very strict about how you use your AI, because if not, people are going to think this is AI slop. This is not cool. I don't like it. So you're going to be in a category of people that don't use AI correctly. Prompting is like having a mindset of a lot of things that you used to do before embedded into a message that is a creative direction for AI. So having this mindset of thinking all the elements that you used to take to a film set, for instance, where light was gonna be in the person of a actress at 45 degrees in a certain film that you were seeing, and that was the advertising, you're gonna have to communicate all that to the AI for the AI to actually perform what you want it to perform. And sometimes it's also, now that we have agents, not even about the prompt that you're going to be given, but who are all the agents that are going to be collaborating in this film set, and what are they targeting on the behind? So how are you going to ensemble those? The creative director mindset, I see that solves a lot of the issues when you're trying to work with AI models for images and videos, and having better tooling around how to do small changes to reflect all the steps that you used to do before manually, and not just try to prompt, give me a dog that is turning around, because that is not going to make the effect that you actually want in your content. And last but not least is that you have a change in the persona that you're selling to. And this is very important because most people still do marketing for people. And unfortunately, we have to start doing marketing for agents because over 50% of the traffic in the internet are agents. Agents are looking for you to go back to the people that configured them and tell them, this is a great product. This is a great thing. And this opens new universes of what used to be SEO only before now turns into answer engine optimization, generative engine optimization, where keywords that was the base of how the Google algorithm used to be before, that was a rank algorithm that could order words and give them a priority to show them, now translates into an experience. And agents understand information significantly different to how humans understand it on the first part. And on the second part, they have a much higher level of transparency in what they see. And they are putting together a whole different set of information to have an opinion about something. So you can go to ChatGPT and just ask it what it thinks about your brand. Or even something that I do is, could you make a person about my brand? How would a person about my brand look? And then it's going to give you a person, and probably that person is not going to look like something that you like if you're American Airlines and you just dropped 19,000 flights. But if you do this periodically over time, you're going to see how the impacts of news, of articles that you write, of different experiences that you can embed into the internet are going to start to show there. This is what we have today. Saturation, how to create good content without people realizing that it is AI, so that then you can also put more effort into creating the human content. And the third is, how do you talk to agents that are now more than 50% of traffic? So this means that what we used to know as funnel for sales is dead. Before, you used to have the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. And that was the way that you would drive strangers to become customers. In the top of the funnel, you would attract cold audiences. Then in the middle, you would inspire them to pay, or inspire them to shop. And then you would acquire the customer and try to retain it. The what you're trying to build right now is more than a funnel. It's a growth engine. And it's going to have different levels, and it's going to have different personalizations, and it's going to work under the concept of awareness, being aware or not aware of having a problem. And this is something that the CMO of Meta talks a lot about, it about Andromeda, that is the new Meta algorithm, in his book. This differentiation between having to attract a cold audience before was trying to attract it to your brand. And you probably did it directly to your brand. Now you have a new challenge, that is that you have to make people aware also of the problem. And then you need them to make aware that your brand is going to solve that problem. Because not everybody had a lot of awareness before, so you were not competing against a lot of people. And that's why the funnel becomes more sophisticated. So there is where listening and analyzing take a lot of relevance. Because all this competition that you have is also a source that you have to use to learn and to learn what works, what doesn't work, what is something that your audience in your niche picks up as interest, what calls their attention, so that you can capitalize to differentiate yourself with what's going on right now in real time in social media. And those are the people that actually learn how to master the top funnel and turn it into middle funnel, the ones that actually are able to build growth engines with points that interact as intermediate interactions and not directly as an intent of purchase, but as an interest. That interest later in the funnel converts, but it takes a longer time because the funnel has more steps. So AI will tell you what stage of the funnel is broken when you have these intermediate interactions. And AI will diagnose also the bottleneck because you're going to be aware of all this information that takes place between your awareness of the problem part and your brand becoming awareness and somebody making a choice. Let's put a clearer example. Imagine that we have an AI product that is a marketing agent, and marketers need to be aware of the amount of information that they have available for analysis and what they are going to pick up first as the truth of the data that they are trying to analyze and to look at, right? So not everybody is so technical to understand all those data points at the same time. So if you use that pain that that person has to relate to them and you don't talk about your brand, you're going to call people's attention because you're going to be an expert in what you're talking. And you're going to be secure in transmitting, hey, I get you, I understand you. You're going to be emotional. Then consideration is going to come into place and evaluation is going to come into place of all the solutions that there is. And that's why today, many people show many solutions at the same time. If I am trying probably to sell my product at some point, I'm going to talk also about my competition and how they do it and what they do. And I'm going to do it in my marketing because I need you to relate why my approach is different to the approach of all the other marketing agents that there are in the market. And that part of consideration is the part that many people fail and they don't put intermediate interactions. Because as we have more AI products and AI grows, people want to actually go inside and test. Think about agents. Agents probably want to hook up to your MCP and see what is the best result. One, two, three prompts that they can easily hook up and use it and test if they like the product or not. That's why many AI products have this free tier part where the hook of conversion is actually after you onboard it into the product and after you test it. Think about Lovable. You can build an entire landing and you don't even have to pay. You have to pay when you start seeing that you need to make changes inside of the website and you're already hooked up into the product. So consideration is in your brain what conversion used to be before in the old funnel. And all this evaluation that you do involves people being more conversational with the product. The problem is that before they couldn't talk to a software if they were not technical. So they had to purchase or not purchase. Now you have this intermediate part. And after you test the product, you've got conversion. And after you have loyalty and advocacy, because competition is so fierce that your funnel has to go also inside of the retention part and how you're going to continue to add features and values on top of it and how you're going to continue to market it. So what we see here in the end is the fun wheel. And this is the concept of the V0 Vercel go-to-market team, that they have a great community team where a lot of what you're going to be doing with agents, with marketing solutions, with your positioning in GEO, with your transactions, with your customer testimonials, with everything that you have to build in your omni-channel strategies and your pillars are going to be a part of this funnel constantly in real time. And they're going to be evaluating results in real time because you have AI available for you in this go-to-market strategy. So what the engine actually needs in the end is real-time ICP data about how they are behaving in this funnel and in all these interactions of awareness to consideration, conversion, and advocacy. Creative assets that personalize to what people need. Because today, 76% of humans feel that they are targeted with marketing that they don't care. They see ads everywhere that they don't care. But when you have a good ad, when you feel that Meta is listening to your WhatsApp conversations because you don't understand from where they know that you need that product, it generates a scary and a wow effect in many cases. Because if it's something that you really needed and you could not find it, you're like, oh, great, that Meta did that for me. So if you are really good at what you do, many times you deliver the correct creative in the correct moment to the person that is looking, the urgency of converting. Because you are matching urgency and personalization. You're not only doing creative personalization anymore. You need to have, of course, a real problem, and you probably need to be a lot more of an expert than what you were before, because you need to learn how to create empathy with the person that is on the other side a lot before what you used to do it. You're transferring a lot of what you did at the conversion moment or at the middle of the funnel before into the awareness part so that the audiences are segmented by the creative itself. That's why Meta, for instance, changed the logics of the algorithms to Andromeda and is now using the creative as the tool that creates the funnel. So having reels, having carousels, having posts represent different parts of this funnel and of this journey that a customer is going to do when learning about your brand. And last but not least, people want to buy from people. That's why you need a personal brand. There is this metric that I always share with everybody, and it is that 30% of the CEOs have a personal brand, and that 30% of the company makes 70%, 76% of the revenue of that vertical. It's like, it's not almost not Pareto, but it's something very close to our relationship where there's so little CEOs that have personal brand and they generate always a lot more revenue than the CEOs that don't. And that is because people want to learn from people that actually have experience that can connect emotionally for them. And brands today need this. It's not a do I have to do it? It's a must. So in the channel, you have many different tools that you can use. You have many different strategies that you have to execute at the same time, as if it was a symphony or a philharmonic, where you have the band director that is going to be understanding what message is going to be delivered to what audience, through what channel, through what strategy, and at what moment of the funnel, and what is the desired interaction of or KPI that they're going to have on the other side. So your brand and social CV is more polished on Instagram usually. If you are millennial, you're probably going to look for some sort of validation inside of Instagram. But if you're Gen Z or you're trying to leverage on community authenticity, awareness, and trying to work the awareness part of the funnel that used to be the top of the funnel, you're going to go for TikTok. Instagram, it's like, okay, I'm really looking something and considering something about you where I want to see a testimonial of a customer, where I'm going to have some social proof and validation more embedded into every post. Not as TikTok that can be more distended, where you have employee generated content is great on TikTok as a strategy for virality. It's going to make your investment in paid and advertising lower a lot because you have more visibility to people. So getting to the number 8, that is the number of attention that you're looking for in the awareness part of the funnel, is going to be easier because you have this tool and this community. Then you have YouTube, that is also great for people that are very, very much considering you, or virality. So you have two sides. Podcast and podcasts, especially today, are going to start being about experienced person that have a lot of juice in their careers. Not only about long form content where you can learn a concept and you are the expert that is telling about something, but combining it with this interviewer mix that many podcasters bring and that has been very successful over years. And clipping that podcast into tiny episodes is going to work very, very well for awareness and as well for consideration. So it's a dual strategy. YouTube works super well, and you can also put paid ads on top of it. Then you have boomers and groups that have a little bit of everything, to be honest. Facebook group is the less used marketing channel ever, and it's the one that converts the higher. If you're looking for a very particular niche of, I don't know, Argentinians that moved to the Bay Area and want to have asado, you're gonna find it. You're gonna find Argentinians that want to have barbecue on a Sunday on Facebook groups. Don't ask me how, they are there. Use them, get into those groups, find them, and try to read what they ask. Because your ICP is right there telling you exactly what they want to know. And this is a great content generation strategy, especially because Facebook posts exactly the same reels that you post on Instagram just by uploading your content to Instagram. So when you're uploading your content to Instagram, you also upload it to Facebook and to Threads, that is the new social media of Facebook, and that's going to give you a lot more reach. And Facebook is actually going to find you a lot more people that are wanting to buy your product than Instagram is going to show you. Instagram, you're going to have it more for validation. Facebook is the one that is going to drive actually the sales because you have all these tools where you can personalize by getting into those groups. And then you have Google, of course, Google Ads, that has a great search campaigns. A lot of people try to invest a lot into TikTok ads, for instance, for virality and to work the awareness part of the funnel. But Google search campaigns work amazing if you have a retail store because you have Google reviews and people can instantly go and look at your Google Maps store and what they sell. So understanding your company and why you're going to be using that particular channel to target that particular audience in that particular part of the new fun wheel funnel that we reviewed is the key. We have other kind of social medias like X and Reddit. Reddit is my favorite for generative optimization because if you look at where OpenAI and Grok and the generative, the AI models, the LLMs get their data, like 40% is Reddit, 20% is LinkedIn, 10% is Instagram. The rest is like 20% Wikipedia. So Reddit is 40%. Imagine how valuable it is to go to Reddit and again, look for your niche and look what they ask. People just ask things on Reddit all the time. It's the best content generation. X is the best virality indicator. If something is a trend, it's gonna be a hashtag inside of X. Like, don't doubt it. You're gonna have it and it's gonna be there. And then how do we use LinkedIn? Because LinkedIn is also like a CV. Now it's being severely attacked by Elon Musk and the purchase of X that turned into XAI. And he doesn't like it. And a lot of tech cool people don't like LinkedIn. On a personal aspect, LinkedIn has brought me in the past a lot of sales doing B2B sales from LinkedIn in LATAM really works. I've got meetings with investors. I've got meetings with corporate partners that gave me feedback on the product that I was building. I have received a lot of value from LinkedIn, both using automations like Galaxy or Clay to enrich the data, to enrich the messages that I'm sending to people in outbound, but also from the posts, because I usually have a lot of content in my meetings. I use Granola as my note taker, and I have created also a brand voice that is right here. I'm going to share this presentation. This brand voice is over 100 questions. It looks like an interview, but all my posts now sound like me. There is a very subtle difference that I cannot tell. But now that I created this Claude skill with my brand voice, my content is a lot better. And it only takes for me to use two or three connectors. I use Continuum, I use Granola, and I use this brand voice that I created. And I combine all of it. And I just ask Claude, what happened during my week that you think that is interesting, that it's worth
Michelle, we lost your
sharing
audio.
with my audience? I lost my audio. Hi,
Yeah,
is it okay?
yeah.
Okay, sorry. It's probably the internet. So, one idea can be atomized into many, and I think this is very, very important because you're going to be doing a lot of content. Like the average amount of content that today requires any business so that you are successful is a lot higher than what you can imagine to start with. And you really need the quantity because there's saturation in market and you're not gonna differentiate. So if you can get one idea from your week, from the data points that you already have in your day to day, you're going to be a lot more successful than you can imagine in recreating this content into user generated, employee generated. Street interviews work very well because they have very good attentional hooks because you're interacting with the audience that is on the other side. Educational content that answers one of the questions that you previously researched on Reddit, on X, that people are asking on Facebook groups. This is really key because people today want to learn, and social media is a source of education for many people. Then you have success and authority, because if you don't have a great CV, you're just another person selling an AI course like everybody's doing. You need to create authority based on your experiences. What did you do that nobody else did in your niche? I built the most profitable business unit in the biggest company of Latin America within 2 years, automating all their marketing strategies and personalizing them with real-time data of transactions of the customers inside of the platform. That meant processing millions of data points at the same time, understanding when to send a message to a person and understanding if I could send that message to that person, because you couldn't send messages to everybody. You had to choose exactly who you were going to send that message. So that authority is what actually builds a narrative when I'm going to position for my personal brand, because I know that there are not a lot of people that did that. And the last is the product feature. At some point, you want to talk about what you're selling, but you don't want to sell it. You want to embed it inside of a storytelling narrative that you're going to be building continuously with AI. And you're going to verticalize what you tell to every part of the funnel, how you tell it to every part of the funnel, and where you tell it to every part of the funnel. And once you picture that in your brain, is where you're going to choose your content style. Director, creative director style works really well. You know, Netflix documentary is super trendy right now on social media. Everybody's doing this Netflix documentary. Then you have history lessons. There's brands today that associate to teaching history on social media, and then that's why people buy their product. They don't buy the product for the product, they buy the product for the history lesson. You have a more traditional format that is like a series where I'm going to share with you a series of expert myths of AI that I talked with all the people that I interviewed in my podcast. And I'm gonna have a fantastic series there when I do it. Because all the episodes were super interesting, but not everybody is all the time watching all the podcasts. So this is a way where I get a long form content that is a podcast that I do, Adventure Doc, for instance, in Palo Alto. Then I clip that podcast into tiny fragments. I tell AI, could you help me create an Instagram series and scripting for everything that I want to post? And then AI helps me to do it. I am not the one that's actually executing everything. And then you have humor that is great for virality. If you want to grow in views, you're going to use a lot of humor or things that are funny for your audience. What I always invite people is the 30-day content calendar that you can calendarize 30 days of posts doing this exercise where you're going to get the fun wheel when you're going to get your audience, you're going to get every part of the funnel, every channel that is available, and what kind of content would you create it. And before doing it with AI, sometimes it's like a little bit of backward engineer, some people call it, where you're going to get like the ideal result that you imagine for those 30 days of content. And then you're going to see where it gets harder so that you can ask AI to do the parts that it has to do for you. Because you're going to be having to do strategy, omni-channel, multi-channel, number of verticals, number and type of posts, scripting, hooks, formatting, value propositions, resolutions, storytelling types, and open loops, because you want to create curiosity in your audience when they are listening to your content. Then you're going to be actually doing the creations, whether it is with AI generations or you're going to record yourself at some point. And you're going to have to then learn prompt engineering. And we have a little prompt library that I can share with you. There's a lot of materials that I'm going to be like appending in the email afterwards for everybody to check them. But you just put whatever you want to do and it's going to generate a prompt for you. So there are these tools that are available. You can even ask ChatGPT to tell you how to do it better, but have the mindset of telling ChatGPT you are a creative director and you're trying to generate this emotion in the audience that you have on the other side. And then you're going to have the delivery, like the post, the copy. Google recently did something that is very interesting regarding SEO and GEO. Google still uses SEO to organize all the information inside of Gemini. So if you do traditional SEO, it's very likely that you're going to get a good output inside of Gemini. But what it did is that it started indexing your social media profiles, not only YouTube, but Meta. You can now, inside of the search index, that is the console search index, not only index your website, but you can index your brand profiles inside of there. So delivering content to social media is actually going to help you in your SEO, and how you write the copies in your post is going to also have impact in how you appear in generative optimization and AI models. So how I become better at prompting, prompt library, as I mentioned, you have tools that you can use, Claude, you can connect them to multiple connectors that are going to give you the information that you need from Instagram or from all the data sources to read through your KPIs, because there is a lot of numbers that you're going to be looking to understand. For instance, if you have a low engagement in a reel, it means that your CTA was bad because people are not commenting. So that means that you have to tweak your CTA to get a better performance. And understanding how to do all this while also having to prompt is something that you are going to have in the configuration when you put together the connectors with Claude and with the tools that you use. Very, very careful KPIs chosen for every part of the funnel. So this is more about generative optimization. You have experience is more important than keywords. The main concept in generative and answer engine optimization is before, just by putting a keyword inside of your website, you would be okay and you would figure in different places. Today, when people look in ChatGPT, they ask, what is the best restaurant to have dinner in New York with my friends? And ChatGPT is going to infer that it is Soho, like, or Tribeca or West Village, something like that is gonna appear in the search that it is doing. So if you don't appear in a PR article saying this restaurant was chosen by people aged 25 to 35 as the fanciest West Village restaurant, you are not going to index, although you used the keywords restaurant, age 35 and pasta, let's say that. So there is a difference between doing keywords and doing experience search. The second is transparency. You are going to have all your customer service out there. All your Google reviews are being trained. All the information in Reddit is being trained. There is no way to hide. Before, brands could do great branding and great marketing, and you wouldn't even know that airlines had a bad service. Today, it only takes a TikTok of a very angry girl to go viral and for people having a negative branding of you. So this is super important to know that transparency and authenticity today is what AI cannot do and has to be a part of your strategy. So in the end, your product is the funnel. You're gonna be doing not only a product of yourself, because in a way you're trying to advertise for emotions and for a lot of things that are really hard in your audience, but you're also gonna drive them through using your product, maybe even before they pay. And that is the new version of product-led growth. It's experience-led growth, where people actually get to live through all this experience, and where marketing stops being separate from the actual product. Like today we see with AI that engineering and product and design, the line is like very, very thin between the three roles, and you kind of need to know a little bit of the three. Well, marketing is also not that far from that, because you need to have it very aligned to all the interactions that happen on social media and afterwards on your website and on the product. And that's how you measure effectively. So I'm going to present the tool. We use Continuum for a lot of things in creating content. To create all this amount of content that we've been talking about today and all this go-to-market strategies, before it used to take around 168 hours if you were doing manually. That's an entire week between the listening, the analysis, the creation, etc. And then if you use AI tools, you're probably going to take one day to do at least all the mapping and all the strategy and all the connecting your systems to have a Claude that's ready to go to do all this strategy in real time every time that you need it. So there is a split between what used to be a legacy platform and what is an AI platform, and a tool that uses AI in the middle of it. Of course, I think 80% of the work you can configure it with skills that you can develop on Claude. And the only risk that you are taking is that you're going to be token maxing all the time on your plan, which is like maxing all your credits in Claude, because many skills that are prepared to run on Claude are going to systemically run process on a one-to-one, while you also need to use AI at this scale and for this impact with a harness that allows you to process more data, spending less money. So many times, if you just configure the skills that you see on any Instagram post, they're going to be super expensive because they're not going to be taking into consideration all the data points that you are actually analyzing. One system is used for many things when you use AI through a product that is designed to do that, and it usually brings you all the information that you need. If you have, for instance, in this picture, the competition posts that are right here, and you can just drag them into the Creative Studio to start creating the content that is going to after personalize screens in real time and phones in real time, and everything is interconnected in how they do delivery. It's a lot easier to get to that wow effect in people and to create strategies that actually talk between each other. But if you don't have the possibility to look at your competitor post, and first you have to go and you have to do all that analysis, and then at a different time that you are creating, you're gonna bring this information inside of the process, and it's not happening like a fun wheel that we discussed. It's gonna be very hard to actually create the impact that you need to grow on social media. So if you're in marketing and you still have not figured out really how to put all these pieces together, it is a lot of information that I gave you today. There is a lot of ways to do it, but I think a course that has a format of 4 or 5 weeks, 3 hours each to tackle each part of the funnel and how to build this fun wheel could really make an impact in how you're going to scale your marketing and how you're going to grow your business. So saturating people with content doesn't have to feel like sales. It has to feel like an experience where they love you and they love what you do. And that's a challenge. So if you want to learn about that a little bit more, let's build the new marketing together.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much. Obviously, you covered so many different things, and a lot of it was quite new to me, actually, quite a bit in terms of what's going on in the space, right? So, with that, I am going to. There are two questions that have been posted right now. One is from Jorge Avila, right? And the question is, I have a limited AI budget for next year. Actually, for the next couple of years, should I invest in content creation, customer insights, personalization, marketing automation, or AI agents?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So, if you have a limited budget, why do you feel that you cannot do all of them? Because in a way, the total value of these tools to create everything that you just mentioned could be probably $300, $400 to do it with AI. If you create a good harness that allows you to use all the skills that you need to configure into Claude, and you choose wisely data providers and data tools that already pre-process a lot of the metrics that you need so that you don't have to be calculating them all the time with tokens. Then if you have good design skills and you combine it with user generated content that you just do by recording yourself, it shouldn't be a very expensive budget. It's more about how you're going to use these tools, I think, the question. But if I have to pick one, for me, it's creating the content because there's no way to post if you don't create.
So just an add-on question. When you say create the content, right? What are some of the good tools for that? I mean, obviously you can use ChatGPT and things like that, but are there something? I know you showed something where you can look at your competitors' content and you can create your own, right? So is that something that you would use, or what would you suggest in a case like that?
Yes, 100%. You have tools like Continuum. There's also others called Hashi, Flora, Icon. There's many startups that have creative studio suites. Then you have more in the model area, Adobe Firefly. You have um, A-Cool, it's called, another video model that is very good. Then you have Runway as a video model. You can, of course, as Manoj said, use all the traditional models. I suggest always that you choose a tool that is going to be doing analytics at content at the same time. Because if not, you're going to have to do manually every time that you want to create, and that represents a significant investment in time in that context switching. So, does this answer a little bit more? There's going to be a whole chapter inside of the course that is designed for content creation, how to do tools work, what is this node interface that I was showing here that everybody's using today to create more personalized content. How does it look like when you're trying to create like really high quality materials to use those nodes and those workflows and how to do it effectively?
All right, thanks, Michelle. So here's another question. This is from Chris Van Vliet. Thanks, Michelle. This helps. You definitely have an enterprise view of how marketing is changing. Any one or two getting started suggestions for small businesses or solo practitioners in getting past just a static LinkedIn page?
Okay, this is a great question. Show yourself. Like, there's a new format content that is trending on TikTok. I know TikTok is not the preference network for a lot of people, but if you post regularly for 90 days from 1 to 3 videos every day, and I'm not asking for a lot, it's just open your camera, put your camera in front of you, and do this yapping format where you start giving your opinion about something that is really specific for your audience. TikTok is going to do its magic and it's going to put you in front of customers. So I think that is the easiest and most economic way of starting. And you also start probably with the view jail that everybody knows that is between 1 to 300 posts. But you're going to see that one post of all your posts is going to do significantly better. You're going to get only that post and you're going to analyze it and you're going to analyze the retention curve that it has. So you're going to see exactly where users are stopping the views in your video. Then you're going to analyze also at what moment of the video it happens. And you're going to know if you have to tweak that content because the actual content is good. What you need to do is the scripting, make it a little bit better. Your hook needs to be better. Your open loop after the hook needs to be better to keep people engaged. Your CTA, probably if your retention line falls at the end to 0, has to change. So you have to choose what is the component that changed and repost and probably do like from that post that works well, 5 variations of hooks and 5 variations of CTAs with different editing styles. Editing is like important at this point. So putting an overlay is just taking a screenshot of what you're talking about and showing people what you're talking about with an image on top of your face. I'm not talking about pro editing. I'm talking about something that is going to call visual attention. And that's how actually people get one video that was successful and turn it into 10 videos that were successful. So if I went viral and one video brought me 10,000 followers, I am going to use that video that brought me 10,000 followers 10 times in 10 different ways, telling the same thing over and over again, but with different hooks, different CTAs, and that is how people gain thousands of followers just by posting every day.
So one question there is, right? So even if you take someone like Chris, but I know Chris, and if you look at his business, are you saying that instead of him pushing it out on LinkedIn, he should maybe do something on TikTok as well? Or how does it work for business? I'm kind of curious because I generally don't see TikTok as a business tool, and I could be completely wrong on that, right? So love your opinion on that. So
For me, that content that goes viral on TikTok is a testing ground to actually post something on LinkedIn that goes very well. And he also could do it on X. X is also an easy platform to do that if it's more related to business and the tech world and you're selling B2B instead of selling consumer brands. TikTok is a good testing platform. Like if you're able to break out of that jail view and how you tell your content, then your content works for every platform.
got
That's
it.
the part about it.
Okay. There's another question from Kent, right? Kent Kaufman. How do tools like yours use all the features of platforms like Meta?
Like features would be like the create posting, getting the analytics. That's what you mean by features?
I think the features would mean mostly like, Meta has a whole bunch of different features, right, that they offer that you don't need a tool like yours, like Continuum, right? So you don't need Continuum. But how would Continuum be able to take advantage of the Meta features? Or is there an integration
Oh,
between the two?
yes, yes, we are fully integrated to Meta, Facebook, and we have everything that Meta offers, but inside of a suite that allows you to analyze all your interactions and also to create the content without having to use separate tools. And by having also structured, like you have a calendar that is embedded so that you can see all the posts, how they look before you're gonna post them. You have the agents that are gonna help you to organize all this chronology that you need to post. You're gonna be also creating inside of there. You're gonna be looking for trends in other platforms also, because it's not also Meta, but the idea is that you can manage YouTube, TikTok. So you're doing what you could be doing with all the Meta features, all the TikTok features, but inside of one same place.
Okay. And then if you take a look at again, I think a lot of the people that we have on on the seminar today are all small business, right? So if you have to take a simple ABC approach, right? This is all new, right? I mean, obviously, you have tons of experience. There are people who have a lot of experience in using AI. But if you take a look, if you were to list out a simple A, B, C, or a one, two, three approach, to getting started and getting involved with this and figuring out how to launch a campaign, get promotions, right? You mentioned so many different things with how to get CTAs and things like that. So what would be a suggestion for that, right? What would be a good way to launch from that standpoint?
Okay, so first you need information. I would invite you to go into Continuum and just do the onboarding part that it's going to audit how agents understand your website and it's going to give you a brand readiness score where you're going to be able to analyze all your company from a marketing perspective and from agents and marketing perspective. So that's going to be valuable and you're going to understand where you need to work a little bit more. If it is how you tell your outcomes, how you tell your value proposition, like where you need to work a little bit more. Second, I would go and I would build my brand voice so that my posts don't look like the posts of everybody. That is very important. And I would do this document that is like a Q&A about my company and about what I'm trying to accomplish. It's like 15 questions, it's not really long. And I would put all that inside of the brain of Continuum or of a project in Claude. Either works either way. And once you have all that information there, I would connect it to my note taker, right? So I would connect that to my note taker that has been with me in all my meetings. And I would instruct my Claude or my ChatGPT or Continuum agent to help me create my content for the week, right? So to help me think what I can tell, what I can post on Instagram, do it in the structure that I need to use it. I would research a couple of skills that I need to personalize that cloud environment, or I would just directly connect Continuum through the MCP, and it already has all the skills that you need so that you don't have to be configuring everything that you need inside of Cloud to do that. You also have access already to all your accounts because you already connected that, and you can tell it that based on the content, what would it suggest to create a 30-day content calendar. I would look at what it says, and I would go and I would do one-on-one research of Reddit. What are people in my niche asking? Like plain Reddit, nothing else. I would look for a couple of questions. I would tell Claude to iterate all the content based on those questions, to have like a format that relates on how to answer those questions. And then I would start creating this 1 minute and a half videos. I would create 30 videos and I would schedule them on the platforms for an entire month.
Okay, got it. Okay, there are two more questions that are so far, right? Another question is, how is email marketing fitting into social media marketing?
So, email marketing goes at different parts of the funnel. In product-led growth, like what I told you, like Lovable, for instance, that allows you to create the website and you still didn't convert. I we use at Continuum email marketing, sending you your Continuum pulse that is after the onboarding, for instance, and you receive your whole score and brand readiness and all the details of the audit that has been done to your website with email marketing inside of the experience. And then for loyalty and advocacy, we allow a weekly report that is sent to all the participants that you want inside of the brand so that you receive metrics every week. That would go for advocacy. A lot of companies build community through newsletter. So having a newsletter, whether they convert or didn't convert, is great for community purpose. And if you're giving valuable information, usually people have a better perspective of you against another brand when they are having a purchase decision in front of them. So that's why people value newsletters.
Got it. Okay, this is a
Ton of cold emailing, like sending emails to people. I know that if you send 50,000 emails to cold audiences, you're gonna get leads and you're gonna get your calendar booked probably. What works a lot better than that, and it's gonna take you significant less money, is cold calling. Like if you have the money to pay for emails, pay for calling.
so you're saying cold calling is better than emails?
A lot better than emails.
Better than emails because even there is this, they do a lot of this thing which they call telesales, right? That is another thing that people are starting to use more and more of right now to get in front of customers as well. So,
And they
okay.
also send
Yeah.
gifts, like you have the address, you just send them a written letter with a wine or a cake. Startups used to send cakes to decision makers in the Bay Area, and that converted really good into meetings.
Oh, cakes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so one a general question that is a little bit different, right? So you have had the experience of working with large companies like Coca-Cola and Mercado Libre and stuff like that. Just out of curiosity, how are those companies, right, in this whole new age of AI and with AI marketing and things like that, given the content creation with all these different AI tools that they used to have teams to build this out and things like that, how are they approaching it from a workforce perspective and how are they using kind of like the different tools to, obviously reach people and continue to sell more products, right? I mean, since you have that experience with both the large companies, would be curious to see what that was about. So.
It is a really good question. I think at Mercado Libre, it really probably didn't change a lot because they already used a lot of AI back in 2018 when I was there. Actually, most of the marketing journeys that we did were all personalized by machine learning and k-mean clusterings that we did about the probability that a user had to buy with a credit in that payment and that was available in that flow. So there was already a lot of AI embedded into the data that we were using to segment and automate what was sent to every person. I think that is from the urgency perspective of the angle, like how to match a marketing message in urgency. That's how we did it with analyzing a lot of behavioral data that customer had on platform. If we think about a company like Coca-Cola, they work with Nielsen data. They don't have the availability that Mercado Libre could have of a person that had a rejected credit card transaction in real time, right? So since you have less availability of data, you need better content quality materials. Because in the end, the marketing that we did in Mercado Libre was so rich because of the urgency that the customer had that it didn't even matter many times what kind of creative you were using or message you were sending. It was more about actually sending the message in the right moment. But when you think about retailers, they don't have that data and they usually rely on marketing agencies. So in that case, I think brand guidelines were very strict and are very strict. And a lot of companies are implementing AI, but not in the way that you think for marketing. So marketing agencies are not really using AI to generate the content. You may have seen the video of Coca-Cola in Christmas that took 68,000 prompts and three times the team that it took to do it manually or to record it because Coca-Cola has to be innovating with AI at some point and has to show it. But really, for their main marketing, I don't really feel that they're using AI yet.
Oh, they don't. That,
Specifically, Latin America and enterprise companies are barely using AI for the things and the processes that they do. And I think there is a lot of awareness about data that like data properties and how valuable is the data that marketing agencies have today to give it away to AI models because AI models today do have challenges in how they are trained and there's a lot of data that they don't have to having the sets of information that they need to have top quality tier design. So a lot of that data and a lot of that process is still not touched by AI. The bigger agencies, I'd say like the Omnicoms, Macams, WPPs, that are the ones that work with Coca-Colas, are working on internal tooling and they are developing their own internal tooling to solve many of these problems that we've been talking today and how to execute all these strategies at scale but they have not been very successful yet.
okay. And this is before there's one other question on chat, but before I ask that question, I one thing. So if you take a look at with, again, the large companies, has there been a company that has been able to use AI and seen a significant increase in clients or customers or revenue or anything like that? Anyone that is a good case study that you've come across?
Yes, for sure. We do work with marketing agencies like Dentsu with accounts like Heineken, and we implement our enterprise technology inside of them, and we increase between 15 and 50% of conversions and sales. And we drive 90% of savings in design teams and 95% of savings in human errors. Imagine that you are a tiny convenience store and a designer gives a 90% discount instead of a 40% discount. That usually drives a lot of problems inside of the P&L. So having programmatic structures that operate everything ends up being better. It's not really made the creative in that case with generative AI. The brief is made with generative AI, and that accelerates the time to delivery of the creative piece because of how the agency cycle works. But then the actual creative comes from a key visual that is designed by a creative agency on the normal way and adapted by a proprietary automation of After Effects. So it works a little bit different when you're working with enterprise brands. You're not generating content as you could use AI for a SMB.
Got it. Okay, there's one other question from Chris here. For Continuum, how is your product differentiated? Is there a company size or characteristics that describe the companies that use it? So how is your product differentiated for different company sizes?
That's a great question, actually. So there is a long tail version of the product that focuses only on creating organic content. And it's usually for small companies, startup, people that are trying to start off to have all this information that they need to have in one same place. Then the same product that a small company uses is used as an onboarding for the setup of the enterprise account. So in that case, the briefing and all the creation is going to take place in the same way. But then when it's going to jump to production, it's going to have an additional creative back office tool that is used to create the templates that are usually from the Adobe suite that the big brands work with, and we trespass what was briefed inside of the tool that everybody gets access to, but then it's scaled inside of the campaign using that creative back office in real time.
Got it. All right. So there are no more questions, and we are getting close to the end of time, right? So if there's any quick questions, if you want to post it, that'll be great. But for those of you who are still on there, I would really appreciate it. We're going to launch a quick poll, right? It's a little quiz. Takes you 1 minute to kind of click through it and answer a few questions. That'll help us for future series of seminars that we're planning on launching and things like that. So if there is nothing else, I really want to basically thank Michelle for taking the time to explain some of these things, right? I mean, perfectly honest with you, as much as I like to say I know a little bit about AI, I learned about 80% of new stuff when it came to AI and marketing and things like that, right? So that was very helpful from that standpoint. Just a few other things, right? So we have a LinkedIn page. We are just like another startup. This is a bit of a side hustle for us. It's little by little getting ready. It's starting to take off in different forms, and we are trying to figure out things as well. So if you can follow us on LinkedIn, reach out, questions, suggestions, whatever we can do to help with the AI education and the different workshops that we plan on releasing and things like that. We have a lot of new stuff that's coming out, but for us and for Michelle, that would be super helpful if you can get that. Michelle, there's one more question that just came in. Michelle, how do
Yeah,
you see AI improving product development in providing how do you see AI improving product development in providing better data on market segment and customer needs?
that is actually a very good question. So, the labs like Anthropic, DeepMind, etc., what they are most interested in, for instance, from the perspective of the data that we harvest with Continuum, is if motion graphics of an animation that does this turn in the bottle is converting at a particular time in a particular segment, because that is gonna fine tune in the future models so that you have like smaller video language models that can be serviced for every retailer or enterprise customer based on the personalizations that they need to increase conversion. So in the end, it's going to also be about how fast you can fine tune these models with all this information for the animations, the colors that they use, the typographies, and all the structures of their brand guidelines to actually be embedded already into smaller personalized models instead of trying to work with this big video models that we're working today.
Got it. All right. Uh, I can see a couple of you responded on the poll. Thanks for doing that. Uh, and so there's a few questions also. Please send the presentation and recorded webinar on email. Yes, we plan to do that. So we will host the webinar. I have to admit that I missed the first 5 minutes of the introduction. So, but we did get Michelle's entire webinar, I mean, the whole presentation. So we have that on file. We will share all that with you. So that'll be something that we will do. And like I said, so as we are figuring out things, and obviously, I think Michelle taught us a few new things today. For now, we are posting a whole bunch of stuff on LinkedIn. We need to get Kent doing videos on TikTok now to to get that going. So, Michelle, maybe you can train Kent on that. So,
You can also scan the QR that is right there. And if you need additional session meeting, you want to review over something, or you want to onboard into knowing better any concept, just let me know. Send me a direct message, email, book meeting. It's perfectly fine. I enjoy a lot working on strategies and trying to figure out what is the actual great first step for everybody.
yeah, I actually put your what do you call this? Put your LinkedIn profile on the chat. So,
Ah, amazing. Thank you. I didn't
and
see it.
then Kent posted your website as well, your company website as well. So we kind of did all that stuff. So,
Oh, amazing. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you
yeah.
both.
All right. All right. So if there's no more questions, right, I'm just posting the LinkedIn profiles of the other the rest of us, for Kent, Farouk, and myself. Please reach out if there's anything we can do. We are always looking to keep getting engaged more and more and more as we continue to build this out, right? So thanks for everybody who joined, took the time to join us today, right? Both, I know there's a couple of people even in from Japan and Korea on the call as well. So thanks for your time. Hope you learned something, and we will be in touch with all of you, right? Thank you again. Okay, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle.